You have been working on your appendix throughout the last several weeks and should already have a significant amount of content in this section. This is the week to dot the I's and cross the T's, making sure your appendices have everything you need and making any necessary changes. Some of your earlier ideas have probably changed as you have worked through training plans, design elements, security requirements, and the other project sections. Now, those changes will need to be reflected in the associated portion of the appendices. Now, take time to read thoroughly through this section, looking for anything you wrote early on that may now conflict with the rest of your work, and synchronize it. There are a variety of things you should have in the appendices. You need implementation plans. You need data collection. You should include charts and diagrams. Your implementation plan is the nuts and bolts of this project. This is the portion of the document that should include the details of how your technology will be implemented. Earlier in the course, you developed your design plan. The implementation plan is the other side of that coin, where you provide the details on how your design will be implemented. This is not a high-level overview. It needs to have step-by-step details of how everything will come together. A good analogy for this is the instructions included in pieces of furniture that need to be put together. Each step in those instructions show the necessary tools, the parts that need to be assembled, how they should be oriented, where the fastening hardware should be placed, and what it should look like at the end of the step. Then, the next step shows the same type of instructions for the next piece that needs to be attached or assembled. Your implementation plan should flow in a similar way. Think about the hardware that needs to be installed. Consider any special tools or skills that are required. Include integration steps with current hardware and software. If something needs to be installed, configured, moved, rearranged, or modified, your implementation plan should include the step-by-step instructions to make it happen. After completing this section, read through it as if you were conducting the installation and see if there are any steps that don't make sense. Then correct those before your submission. Some projects may require data collection or simulated data collection as part of the early stages of development. Any data you collect that helps you draw conclusions about what should or shouldn't be implemented, areas that need to be adjusted, current equipment that needs to be replaced, or any other variable that will impact the implementation should be included here. This is a good place to put content that doesn't really fit into other sections, but that is important in the decision-making process. Some areas of your implementation and design plans can reference the data in this section to show how you came to the conclusions of what is needed for a successful completion. Charts and diagrams can be included in other sections of your project, but if you have a lot of charts or diagrams, you should place them into the appendices instead. Charts can become distracting to a reader and are not always needed to prove a point up front. Sometimes it is necessary to include one overall chart within a design plan and then include many other related charts in the appendix. This will give the reader a picture of the overview without inundating them with copious amounts of charts. If you have a lot of charts, place them in their own appendix. The appendices are often a difficult section to work on because they can be very fluid in what should be included. A good rule of thumb for appendices is to place extraneous content that doesn't fit well into any of the other sections here and then reference it in those sections so that the reader can get a deeper understanding of your project. Extraneous doesn't necessarily mean unimportant in this context. It simply means that it is data or content that would disrupt the flow of thought enough that the reader would be confused or lose focus of the goal. This is why an implementation plan fits well in an appendix. It is important, but it doesn't need to be mixed in with the design plan. It can be referenced at a later time after the reader has a good understanding of what the project is about. Data collection fits into this section for the same reasons. As you work on finalizing this section, think about any other element that may fit here and rearrange your content as necessary to make it feel streamlined.